Yeah, last week was great, actually. Went to a couple places. First one I went to was Portland, and I met with my friend Tom Ferry, who's the best coach in the country, in my opinion, real estate coach. And he had some of his top team leaders up there. So I spent the morning brainstorming with them, talking with Tom about some ideas and concepts that we want to maybe execute on. And life really revolves around one central thing. And that central thing is relationships and how important relationships are in my business. Every day we're communicating with our partnerships. Every day we're trying to either expand with current partners or bring on new partners that we feel can be valuable. But that's a very self-serving way to look at it, because it's not about what we want, it's about what we can provide. And the more that we can provide our partners with value, the more valuable we will become to the partnerships. So the more that I can help any partner with thought, with brainstorming sessions, how-tos, what works, what doesn't work, because I've been fortunate enough to do this for quite some time. When you talk about working with a lot of partnerships, I've seen a lot of things work and I've seen a lot of things fail. And it's important that the partners, especially the partners that you really care about, the partners that you're so vested with, years and years and years of relationship value, it's important that somebody knows, that our partners know, that we're not here to just have our hand out. We're actually here to help first and hopefully have opportunities later. A relationship works best when you don't go into it thinking, I want this. It's, I can give this. And hopefully there'll be an opportunity down the road. I think the goodwill of that, and I think in any industry, the more that people start looking at relationships as the true means of growth, because the more you do the right thing, the more people will think highly of you. And that's personal, but the compound effect of the people that they know that may ask about you, that's exponential. I look at where my ability to make sure that our partners know that they're dealing with somebody with true integrity, great moral character, and that does what they say they're going to do and will do anything for that relationship value. I think that has spread throughout the years to where we've become a very trusted source for a lot of organizations. I'm very proud of that. But I think it also goes back to the partnerships in itself, of knowing like one of the greatest feelings is when you get the phone call or when you're talking to partners and they know they can count on you for advice or get a trusted opinion, instead of like, if you hold the currency, if you hold the cards, a lot of times people will just kind of ass kiss and nod their head yes, because they're just agreeing to agree because they want your business, right? And the reality is that I find that the most value that we get with our partnerships is when they come to you with a question and you can give them open and honest advice. And it's not a matter of criticism, it's a matter of honesty and like the roadblocks that occur within certain workflows or SOPs, and like why I wouldn't do it that way, right? And when you start to do that, you can really start to develop a lot of trust, because people know they'll actually get an honest opinion of you. When you talk about partnerships that we're always communicating with on a daily basis, partners like Rocket, Veterans United, constant everyday communication, New American Funding, AmeriSave, Freedom, OpenDoor, Zillow, like these partnerships aren't like, hey, let's touch base once a month. These partnerships are like, hey, every day we're communicating, because the more you can communicate at a high level, and that doesn't necessarily mean myself, that means somebody from our team, and many times it is me. I mean, that's my involvement, is to be there and be present. But everyone's working on something. And so how do you fit in and how can you help? But the relationship side, for anybody watching this video, to know that relationships are all around you. And as I've gotten older too, and with more experience, part of that in relationship value is never burning a bridge. Because I can't tell you how many times that I've had a relationship, they may have left a partnership or a relationship, and you may think, oh, I don't have value for this person anymore. What can they bring to the table? And next thing you know, a year from now, they come around and they can actually help you. And so every relationship matters. And I don't look at relationships of what can this person do for me? I look at relationships and say, what can I do for this person? Because I never know when they may be able to help me. It may not be now. It could be 5 years from now. Hell, to be honest with you, this morning I had a 47-minute conversation with Grant Cardone and his right-hand guy, Ryan, about creating a value proposition for their tenants. They have over 15,000 doors. How can we create goodwill with the people that rent from you to provide rewards and savings to those that want to achieve home ownership? How can we create a tenant rewards program for you? And bang, this light bulb went off like, that is an awesome idea. Well, that idea stemmed from relationships. I've known these guys a while now. And when they can trust you and they know that you're successful, and they know that you have integrity, they know that you've done this before, you can actually have open discussions and know this too, like knowing, wait, this can actually be executed on. I trust this person to execute this idea, not it's just an idea. I think a lot of people will not engage in true discussion of opportunity because they know the person they're talking about with doesn't possess the ability to execute. It's just an idea. It's just a thought. It's just a concept. And I don't have time for conceptual. What I play on is, I know how to do this. I can execute on it, I can report on it, and I can deliver on it. We've earned that over time in what we do and how we operate here. But for anybody listening to this in terms of like what that means to you is, if you get an opportunity, don't just take an opportunity and say, hey, I have an idea. What do you think? Ideas fall on deaf ears. If you can prove concept, if you can prove modeling, and then you can prove execution, you now take that on your resume that you can execute. And there's value in the resume. There's value in saying this is a performer. And so people take you more seriously when you can actually engage in meaningful discussions about creating a partnership that can actually work versus just talking to talk. I'm done with that part. And I know the difference between those people, and anybody that's successful and anybody that is a decision maker will know the difference between, is that worth a further discussion, or do I not even want to waste time on this because I know it's something that won't come to fruition? You got to think about that in business, because there's a lot of people that have good ideas, but that means nothing if you can't execute on it. So my advice would be, don't just have ideas. Create an entire program around what you're thinking. If you're thinking about a partnership with somebody or an organization, whatever it is, don't just have a thought. Have an execution strategy behind that, because if you can execute on it, that's just one more person on your resume that you can say, I do it for this person. Like, think about my life, what I get to preach. We're the number one partner for so many groups out there now that I get to say, this partner, 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 where people don't even question, can you execute? That's a foregone conclusion. It's a matter of how big can we make it? What can we do with this to start, and where can it go? The more that you show execution, the more opportunity you'll get with people that will take you seriously. But none of that matters if you don't have the relationships. Relationships are everything. They will open the door for you, and that's so many people that you got to think about. That relationship is so important. If it's somebody that you just closed a deal with that's a VP at a company, there's a lot of people that work for that person. Like, treat that relationship like gold. Like, there's just so many ways to think about, well, who's worth the relationship? Everyone's worth the relationship. Not everyone's worth your time. You got to make sure that you delineate that. But the relationship and what people say about you as a person is incredibly important. So work on those relationships and think about how important relationship value is to your business.